Welcome back to the Kieran Cullen Football Channel. Today we're going to be doing my predictions for this game week. Alright, the first game up is Tottenham Wolves. Tottenham, they were lucky against Chelsea. They didn't look amazing. I think they were quite good against Southampton, but they have conceded 3 goals in 2 games, which isn't great. But I'm not convinced about Wolves, okay? I've got my agenda against the... that was a wolf noise apparently. I have my agenda against Wolves. I think I'm going to go 3-0 Tottenham. I think Tottenham will be back at home. They beat Southampton 4-1 at home. I think Wolves, they lost to Leeds. They drew to Fulham. I think they're a bit I just think Tottenham are going to have way too much for them. 3-0 Tottenham. Next up is Crystal Palace, Aston Villa. Palace had a very good game against Liverpool. Okay, arguably they should have got the win. But they didn't. They struggled against Arsenal in the first game, but they had a really tough pre-season with injuries and so on. Villa didn't look exactly promising against a very poor Everton side. So, Villa don't look like they're scoring. And Crystal Palace are at home, and Crystal Palace have a pretty good home. Do they have a good home record? I don't know. I'm assuming because they're a fun team. I like Selhurst Park. They've got a team full of ballers now. So I'm going to go 2-0 Crystal Palace. The pressure is on Gerrard once again. After that, with Everton and Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest have signed even more players now. They're between 15 and 17 new players. They're haggling buying Aouar for 15 million euros. But they've also just spent 44 million on Morgan Gibbs-White. What? How does that work? Nottingham Forest got their first win against West Ham, but it was not convincing. West Ham, poor penalty from Declan Rice, very poor. But West Ham had more than enough chances to win that game. They should have won the game. I'm pretty sure they won the game on XG, okay? Nottingham Forest they weren't a threat, and their only goal was just a horrible, lucky deflection. So I'm not remotely convinced by Nottingham Forest still. I still think they'll really struggle. They'll have a really good squad, but you've got to get the squad to play together, okay? And you've got a short amount of time. Before you know it could be January, and you might have 3 wins under your belt. Who knows? So I'm going to go for Everton 1-0. I'm surprised by that as well. But I just think Nottingham Forest don't have it liquid yet. Okay, they might get it liquid and they'll be way better than Everton. They've got a better squad than Everton. But I think Everton are at home and they really seriously need a first win. And I reckon they'll squeeze out their first win of the campaign. A simple 1-0. Fulham up next. And Fulham, this time around, for the 4th attempt, they're bloody good fun. They're bloody good value. They're adding something to the league. I'm going to go 2-2 against Brentford. I think Brentford are good. Brentford smashed Manchester United. Manchester United are honking. Really quite honking. Which will reflect in the result, I guess, for the Liverpool game later. I think Brentford have been involved in 2 very high-scoring games. A 2-2 against Leicester. They came back from 2-0 down, I believe. They beat United 4-0. So there's going to be goals from the Brentford end. Fulham, they've been involved in goals as well. They're both going to be up for it. They're both going to think this is a game we can win. So in my opinion, I think it's going to be a hell of a game. End to end. Big metro with 2 goals. And Ivan Toney and Mbuemo. Alright? No, De Silva. De Silva and Toney for the Brentford goals. 2-2. Next up is Leicester versus Southampton. And I've gone for 1-0 Leicester. I think Leicester are really poor. Right, they have scored 4 goals in 2 games, which is pretty good. So that's why I give them the edge to get the goal. But Southampton are just really bad. I don't think Leicester are going to thrash them because I think Leicester is still really poor. But Southampton are just the worst, honestly. And I have a soft spot for Southampton. I went to uni in Southampton. I worked at the football club in the club shop. But they're crap. Okay, they're so bad. Hassan Hüttl has to go before anything can possibly change at that club. If the fans want something different, the owners want something different, they need some hope. They need to make the change. He's simply too Marmite. And I love Marmite, but a lot of people hate Marmite, all right? He's too 50-50. And 50-50 bread is shit. Because I bought some the other day as a treat, and you know what? Fuck that. I am wheat and rice sourdough all the way. Next up is Bournemouth versus Arsenal. I've gone 2-1 to Arsenal. I think Arsenal are going to have 3-3 wins. I think Arsenal are just a lot better this time, and I don't think these are the games where they'll slip up. I think it might be nervy. I think they'll still have those nerves in these sort of games. But I think this time they'll be more often than not on the winning side of the tight games rather than on the losing side like last season. However, I think Bournemouth will get a goal. Bournemouth poor against Man City, but what can you do? It's at this point now that a lot of teams that come up, it's more like damage limitation so they don't get battered 8-0 against City at this point, and against Liverpool as well. But I thought they were good in their first game. They'll be at home, it'll be rocking. It's still early in the season, all the fans have all the hope, so the ground will be absolutely rocking. But they won't win. 2-1 Arsenal. Leeds United, Chelsea. I've gone rogue for this one. Not many people will have the knowledge and the sense and the vision to go for a 1-1 scoreline. It's brave, I know. It is. I'm just that sort of man, you know, just a fucking brave guy. Now, my reasoning here is Chelsea. I just have a thing. It doesn't matter who they buy, but I just reckon their season is going to have a bit of a dampener. They woefully let Tottenham back into the game. That Tottenham were never in for a heartbeat. In their first game against Everton, not entirely convincing. A 1-0 win from a penalty. I am not remotely convinced about Chelsea. I think Leeds at home can get something. Leeds now, they're scoring goals. Not amazing defensively, but they're scoring goals again now. There's always a curveball result from the weekend. I think this is the one. Next up is West Ham and Brighton. I'm going to go for a draw. A score draw. A 1-1 draw. I think Brighton are good. I think West Ham are good, but have not shown it so far. But they've had to play us, and they should have beaten Nottingham Forest. But it was a poor performance, but they still should have beaten them with the chances they had. And the quality they have in the team. Skamaka played against, what was it, like Viborg or some Danish team. They won 3-1. Bit alarming. They conceded a goal, but, you know, it is what it is. Maybe start Skamaka. Maybe start the guy. He scored against Viborg. Maybe give your, like, £30-odd million striker signing a start. Saying that, I'm not convinced he'll get more than 5 goals this entire Premier League season. I'm not convinced by West Ham buying a striker. He just has the same sort of feel as all the other attempts at buying a striker has for West Ham, and I can't see more than 5 goals. However, I think this might be one of his goals, right? This might be the game where he gets one of his 5 goals this season. Brighton, they're on better form than West Ham. They're looking quite good, but I feel like West Ham will be desperate not to lose this game. They'll be disappointed with a draw, but because they've lost 2 in a row, I think it'll be a cagey affair, and I'm going to go 1-1. Newcastle, Manchester City, the oil derby, the cash money fixture. 2-0 Manchester City. It's not going to be easy. I think it's going to be brutal, but it might be easier than I thought. Newcastle started off looking great against Forest in their first game, but that was against Forest. They struggled against Brighton. I think Brighton were much better than them on the day, and they were lucky to get a 0-0 draw. It's going to be different at St James's Park because that place is absolutely rocking at the moment, and rightly so. The hope in that ground is unbelievable, but I think we'll have too much for them. You know, it's not quite that Eddie Howe form at the tail end of last season. They'll be good, but I think they won't beat us or Liverpool. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 Manchester City, but it'll be a wobbly one. And the final game, Manchester United, Liverpool. Brutality, but maybe not as bad as first thought. So I believe Liverpool have like a 9-0 aggregate scoreline in the previous 2 derbies between the 2 clubs. I don't think they're conceding a goal this game at all. Liverpool aren't looking great, right? They look like they're struggling without Mane. Turns out Mane were very influential to the team. They've lost Nunes, who I reckon would have bagged in this game despite, you know, on the down low, actually being low-key horse shit. I reckon he would have like bundled one in by attempting an overhead kick and it coming off his nose and flying in. But I'm going to go 4-0 Liverpool. Or am I? I'm going to revise that down to 3-0. Liverpool are struggling at the moment. I think they'll smash them, but I think it'll be a 3-0. United, I think, will continue to be bad. They're getting Casemiro, not in time for Monday. I'm not convinced. Even if they do, all right, maybe 2-0, 3. Like, there's just that whole United team needs. I don't even know what it needs. It needs everything. And I hope it gets nothing. I hope they suffer forever. I hope they get relegated. Imagine the joy if they got relegated. Oh my God. The moaning by them and everything would be just unbelievable. Fergie would drink so much wine. Little bloody Martinez at the back. Turns out, mate, if you're tiny and you're a centre-back, you're allowed to jump. You don't have to let Ben Mee just go bonk and let it in. You don't have to. But please do, for my benefit. Continue to get smaller. You know what? Play the whole game on your knees, because it looks like you're doing it already. I love it. Those have been my predictions. I want to get some guests on to do this, so give me any names of anyone you want me to ask and try and get on to do some game week predictions for next week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!